I feel like if you decide to support Borussia Dortmund, you should just be entitled to a free therapist. Hey guys, so I created a new channel recently called Maqwell. I'm very creative. This channel is going to be a little more personal for me. It's just going to be me pretty much speaking in front of a microphone while there's like video game footage, and we just talk about really anything. Life experiences, life lessons, stories, all that kind of stuff. And you guys can pitch in as well, asking me if I can talk about a certain subject, give out some advice, something like, I don't know, how to grow a YouTube channel, you know, that kind of stuff. So if you're interested at all, just go and subscribe to this channel. The link will be in the description below. And also, not to mention, the first video has already been posted, so definitely check that out too. So we actually covered the Bundesliga title race a couple months ago, so we're just gonna start this video at match day 21. Bayern, Dortmund, and underdogs Union Berlin were all tied with 43 points. The next match day though would see the extraordinary three-way tie come to an end after Union Berlin could only get a draw versus Köln. They again dropped points the following week, which led to a three-way tie for third place this time between Union, Leipzig, and Freiburg. Another match day passes and Union Berlin retrieved third back after they beat Frankfurt and Leipzig lost to Bochum. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich lost in Leverkusen after initially being 1-0 up at the half. Dortmund, though, a day prior mashed in Köln 6-1, meaning we now had a new league leader. Better yet, the next match day would see an important top-of-the-table clash between these two titans. However, before the fixture, Bayern Munich decided to sack Julian Nagelsmann. Why? God knows, really. Top of the table, unbeaten in the Champions League, it's honestly mind-boggling. It didn't take Bayern long to replace him though, as they brought in former Dortmund manager Thomas Tuchel. And so, the most anticipated Bundesliga top of the table clash in recent time would commence.
Evening all incredible! What an awful mistake! And it goes all the way in!
For f***'s sake, Dortmund.
That's the corner. And to Ligt attacks it and it goes in! German football, and it's opened up here, Koeman with the save!
It's been 23 minutes. What is going on? With Dortmund bottling at colossal levels, Bayern would add a fourth early into the second half, as Dortmund fans were left questioning whether or not there was any more will to live. BVB would get 2 consolations, but none of that mattered as Bayern retook the league lead. Union Berlin also grabbed a win, so they were still somewhat in the title race. Unfortunately for them, they were victim to Dortmund's revenge match the following week. Meanwhile, Bayern would beat Freiburg to maintain the 2-point difference between them and Dortmund. The following week was a great opportunity for Dortmund to potentially retake the league lead. Why? Bayern's dressing room was imploding. Dortmund played Stuttgart and would go 2-0 up early on. But then, in classic BVB fashion, into the late stages of the second half, they concede 2 unanswered in a matter of 6 minutes. Don't worry though, because just like the CIA, the US's own Gio Reyna intervenes and finds a late winner for Dortmund. And then they concede again in the 6th minute of stoppage time. But this bottle job stung even more because that same day saw Bayern drop points against Hoffenheim. Luckily for Dortmund, they were gifted another opportunity by Bayern after Tuchel's men dropped points in Mainz the following week. And by the grace of the gods, Dortmund didn't bottle for once, defeating Frankfurt in convincing fashion. With that victory, Dortmund would be able to forget about their disaster class in Munich and move forward. And then they drew with Bochum the very next week. Now, I won't call this one bottling mainly because there should have been 2 penalties awarded to Dortmund in this game, but that being said, Bayern would win their game against Wolfsburg 2 days later to snatch back the league lead. So with 4 games left and a point separating the 2 parties, it all came down to who could endure the pressure longer. According to 538, despite just a single point difference, Bayern had a far better chance to win the league than Dortmund. 1 week later, and things are off to a good start for both teams as they don't make any mishaps. Bayern defeat Bremen away from home, then the following day Dortmund treat Wolfsburg like a bunch of puppies. Things remain the same way as we go into the very next match day. Bayern put 6 past Schalke. Side note, by the way, don't ever ask a Schalke fan when their most successful period was. A few hours later though, Dortmund would ransack Mönchengladbach, scoring 4 goals in 32 minutes, and in the end, BVB won 5-2. Match day 33 now, and not only do Bayern release these mid-fillet ass kits, they also drop points to Leipzig after a initially being 1-0 up. For once, Dortmund take full advantage of this, win a crucial game in Augsburg, and overtake the Bavarians with just one match to go. So going into the final match day, it was either clubs for the taking, but Dortmund found themselves in the driver's seat 2 points clear. All they needed to do was beat 9th place Mainz at home, and the Bundesliga title was theirs. After a decade of heartbreaking departures that saw young blossoming prodigies leave for better pastures, and star players who carved their names into the legacy of the club go to Bayern, shortcomings of torment which would constantly be a burden as Dortmund would find every method to see their title hopes crash and burn. The treasure of German football, the Yellow Wall, has bared witness to the smoke left by these flames. They've seen their team remain stuck in a cave of blackness, cold with hints of doubt as their red-hot rivals continue to dominate German football and achieve even greater feats in Europe. But now was the greatest opportunity to start anew, walk out of the cave, be greeted by the bright yellow sun of hope, and wash away pains of the past. With one more win, Borussia Dortmund would become Bundesliga champions for the first time since 2012. The Yellow Wall would finally be able to sing notes of pure jubilation that would resonate with their most loyal compatriots. A player who has had many opportunities himself to leave and seek silverware elsewhere. A man who has seen so many of his friends leave, and a warrior who has constantly spat in the face of adversity. If there was one man the football world wanted to see in his happiest state, it was Marco Reus. And of course, you couldn't forget about Jude Bellingham. For a couple seasons now, he's gifted the Dortmund faithful his dazzling technical ability and incredible footballing smarts on a weekly basis. It was only written in the stars that he'd leave on an incredible high by bringing the title back to Dortmund. He's injured, you say? No. That shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Looking for a shot goal, and they found one.
Dortmund, please not now. Fortunately for BVB, they won a penalty just 2 minutes after in the 16th minute. Aller steps up and...
Bonicido's there!
You guys gonna wake up or something? Cause, you know, it's been 23 minutes! I wonder how the Bayern-Köln game is going right now. That's not good. Dortmund would get one back in the 69th minute, but they still needed 2 more goals, and it just didn't seem like they'd ever come. But then, late into the 80th minutes in the other game, Köln are awarded a penalty. It's converted, and now all of a sudden, despite being 2-1 down at home, Dortmund are back at the top. This is it. This is the moment, and nothing can stop it from happening. Dortmund found their equalizer, but it was way too late to make some kind of Man City-esque comeback. And so it was official. Dortmund bottled it.
There are fates worse than death.
And if you thought Arsenal's bottle job was bad, which it was, just look at these figures. From the beginning of March all the way to the end of the season, Dortmund bottled 4 times. And if you want to stretch it back, there is definitely a couple other times that they could have, you know, earned some points. Remember Werder Bremen? Remember when they conceded 3 goals in a matter of 5 minutes in the last 5 minutes of the match, mind you? There were numerous occasions when Dortmund could have ran away from Bayern. This is a Bayern side that I have seen be more vulnerable than ever in my life. This felt like the moment that an underperforming Bayern would finally face its consequences. But no, Dortmund are just anti-clutch. It is incredible how good they are at the arts of choking. I mean, simply put, somehow, some way, they just do not have the mentality for something like this. It's like before every game, they're practically pissing themselves before it's even started. Again, this was Dortmund's chance, and I feel like it's gonna be a few more years until we see some kind of title charge like this again. Because Jude Bellingham will definitely be leaving for Real in the summer, and Bayern Munich have already made changes in the dressing room and even in the board. I will say one thing just to end off this video, and that is a special thanks to Dortmund, because now no one has been talking about the Arsenal bottle job for quite some time. It's been peaceful. But what do you think? Is Dortmund going to have a title charge like they did this season and maybe finally win it? Or are we going to see somewhat of a cycle, the beginning of a cycle, where Dortmund kind of struggle and then in the next few years, maybe we'll see another title charge like this one. But of course, a massive shout out to all our patrons, including Stan, Janos Balas, Chris Damasceno, Miliaway009, Aldipu, Alex Rod, Ulta, Min Surmez, Aresan, Carlos Anaya, Daniel Ortiz, Francisco Hernandez, Guy, Joao Carvalho, Marco Fujimoto, Hashimoto, Miguel Munoz, Return Fire, Rivera Drawin, Rory Burns, Slider Kid, Sniffers, Takaoka Fan, The Motor Drive, Tomicus, Vanilla Mexican 17, Victor, Bubble, Chris Visconsi, Q's Natty Champs 2022, Emmett Shea, Lewis, Joe Paricio, Michael Nista, MX Weeb, Niche, Patrick Barley, Phil Bacchus, and Unbroken Persona. If you'd like to join the Patreon, there'll be a link down below and up in the annotations. You can follow my Twitter if you want, follow my Instagram if you like, follow my TikTok, trying to get to 20,000 there, and of course you can follow my semi-active Twitch, and I'm really trying to stream at least once every week, so definitely follow it. I promise I'll actually make that happen. But until then, I'll see you guys.